California. Harmontown is now in session. Spencer Crittenden, everybody. Spencer. And the mayor of Harmontown, Dan Harmon. Thank you.
All right, is the 4-year-old gone?
What did I miss last week, Dan?
A 4-year-old. And so here's the thing about parenting. Just don't involve me. Do it from the back of the room because, like, as Spencer points out, little kids, they need to pee and poop and stuff.
They got tiny bladders at sub-point A1. Like, there's many, many points we could go into, but just bladders alone...
I thought you knew way more than you're supposed to about prepubescent digestive systems.
Let me tell you about...
At C.A1,
at
like you're a chiropractor
B
zeroing
sub 2, that's where their bladders really just explode in size.
I have a question. I was just listening to an audio yesterday in my car. When she sat back down, did she start crying?
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Well,
she started crying before she sat back down.
We hooked her on that fucking Hollywood stage magic, man. She got a taste of it. She's got nothing to compare it to. She doesn't. We created a child star.
But when you gave her a chance,
she's going to be knocking over liquor stores.
When you gave her a chance, when she had a chance to speak, she was like, "Yeah."
Look,
she was being a refusenik. And then she got back in her seat and she cried. She goes, "I fucking blew my chance."
But honestly, she just cried because she was sitting up on stage and she liked it. And I know exactly how that feels. Like, I would love to not like I was the little kid in his pajamas that would come out in the living room, and I'm sure it's Los Angeles. It's probably half of the audience or more. It's like was the kid in the family, and it was like, look at me, and it's like feels good when strangers pay attention to you because you know that while they're doing it, your parents can't hit you. It's safe. Yeah. It's like that moment in Texas Chainsaw Massacre when you're flagging down the cop car. It's like nothing bad can happen now. Oh, it's the cop that makes chili out of people.
Also, second question: how old is Timur?
Timur is 16.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. All right, I was trying to visualize him because I can't afford the subscription to our show.
Yeah, love my neighbors. The Bootsons, of course, they humanize me. Of course, I'm all caught up in the Hollywood lifestyle. I'm a cynical person. I'm a Capricorn. I'm hierarchical. I'm patriarchal. I'm self-loathing. I don't smell the roses. I don't notice avocado trees or eucalyptus. I don't. She makes me muffins. Your life is happening right under your nose. And she comes on the podcast and everybody loves her. She wrote a poem for a dead eucalyptus tree. She represents this is real life, man. It's fucking God is in the moment. You're living in the past and the future. You got to keep it real, like your neighbor. And then I was like, thank you so much for doing the show. People love you. You should come back anytime. And she was like, thanks. I have 2 screenplays for you to read. So I didn't have it that wrong.
And her son makes horror mazes for a living now, right? That's a
I think that's pretty interesting. I'd like to check back in with him. I
want to go too. I want to see.
Teenagers have a notoriously small attention span. Like you're not supposed to. If you get into something when you're like 12, you're still into it when you're 16.
Right.
It makes you neither a hero nor a villain, but it makes you noteworthy. I want to check in with that guy.
Have you ever gone through one of these horror mazes, or you just heard them from across the fence?
I hear whatever he plays on a loop. It's about a 30-second loop that goes for about a month and a half.
Do you, on a scale of 1 to 10, just by guessing from meeting him and hearing the sounds, how spooktacular do you think they are?
I don't know. I can't. I have to imagine a cheap haunted house is a scarier haunted house. You've got less restrictions. I've been on the Batman ride and the American Eagle at Six Flags Great America in Illinois. The Batman ride, they strap you in. I've used this as a metaphor for things. There's something less scary about having control totally taken from you by a corporation. It's like, oh, you're strapped in. Like, worst case scenario is this thing just kind of explodes and it's no one's fault. But when you go on the American Eagle, the world's oldest roller coaster, which is just part of the psychological, this is just a mind fuck. Like it's the world's oldest roller coaster. You're like, what? It's made out of made out of driftwood. And it's like that washed over from Coney Island that was already used for a worse roller coaster that fell apart and that floated over to found its way to the Great Lakes. And they built a roller coaster out of it. And they strap a little jump rope across your lap and ask you to hold it real tight. And the reason that's terrifying is because you can't let go of your sense of accountability. Terror, and I think this maybe could be thematic to our guests tonight. Like I think a big part of terror is, how are you supposed to know when you're really in trouble? And can you see death coming? And if you do, what are you supposed to do? Like if a roller coaster starts to go wobbly, is it going to be my fault if I die because I didn't blah, blah, blah? Are the people going to be watching me on a 4chan video, like watching my head fly and going like, look at the dick in the back, doesn't even move?
I think it's certainly not your responsibility once that thing gets rolling.
That's what my therapist would say. That's probably not what the theme park people would say. If you can blame a kid for getting eaten by a fucking alligator at Disneyland, Jesus Christ, the ghost of that kid was more vilified than Richard Nixon, because God forbid a fucking corporation admit they had anything to do with a fucking alligator. Fuck you. It's so fucking. And it's not Disney that I'm mad at. Disney is a system. Its job is to not have a heart or a brain or a soul. Its job is to fucking keep existing. We have systems like that in place, like the alphabet and medicine that we're very glad aren't like only continued by someone's passion every day. So yeah, of course a fucking feelingless system should just keep going, but that's why we have to be on our shit, just to have a thing. Maybe we could make a new law that says like you don't have to, it doesn't open you, it's not admissible in court if you say sorry about the alligator. If the president has to visit a flood, otherwise he gets yelled at, like you don't care about no flood, well, somebody visit the fucking just say you're sorry. The kid was like, wait, what? It said don't go over there.
Was the alligator?
It said don't go over there.
Was the alligator on the Disney property?
Oh, the alligator was on. That was a primetime alligator. Yeah.
What part of the park was the
Mickey Mouse hat on?
No, he didn't have a Mickey Mouse.
Man-made, but in an area where guests were supposed to keep out.
Was it part of the Animal Kingdom part of the park?
It was part of the Gators.
Yeah.
The kid went swimming anyway.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
He got
okay.
it.
It says no swimming, but okay. Here's some other places you're not supposed to go in Disneyland. The cash register. Do you think they have more than signs keeping you out of those fucking things?
Underground.
They'll fucking cattle prod you. You try to stick your hand in the till. Don't. Who cares if there was a goddamn? I don't care. What are the tickets to that place? $8,000. The kid probably had to choose between college and Disneyland before it could speak. They're like, I'm sorry, you're going to have to make this choice. Of like jangling a keychain with Mickey Mouse on it and holding up one of those hats that I'd know the name of if I went to college.
I went to
mortar and pestle. What are those things called? Mortarboard hat.
Yeah. Mortar and pestle. It's called a mortar and pestle. That's where you learn how to make.
You don't know, Mikey, but you're making a choice. You'll like live in the moment, or be an adult with a stake in our workplace. And the kid's like, I don't know. That mouse looks like so appealing on an instinctive level that for some reason it's exempt from fucking basic copyright law. Didn't that thing become public domain in like fucking 1990? And then it was like, obviously that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Mickey Mouse can't become public domain just because it's older than fucking Huck Finn. That's not what we meant when we said that. We didn't mean that.
Is Dennis Hopper still alive, or if anybody we know that can do a perfect Dennis Hopper impression, I want to hear somebody reread what you just said as Dennis Hopper.
Because his mind, man, and his mind.
Is Mickey Mouse a good mouse? No.
You think you're going on vacation, man? You're going into a slaughterhouse.
Yes.
Who's on the ride? Okay, the kids or the fucking animals.
When we get into
that didn't sound like.
When we get into Frontierland, Tomorrowland's gonna make Fantasyland look like Critter Country, man.
Critter Country.
Critter Country. They're running out of names to call lands.
Okay.
Critter
Well,
Country.
I didn't finish my thought, but I know I've already harped on this, but I just want to finish that thought. It's not Disney that did or didn't do anything wrong. It's the people in the comment sections, as always. Stop siding with a fucking inhuman system. It doesn't need your help. If someone falls off a cliff while playing Pokemon Go, it's a tragedy. A guy died. You don't have to make a fucking point about your priorities. It's like you're like pallbearing the American dream, you pieces of shit. You put on these masks and you get on the internet and you what is it? Sound effects?
Somebody's phone ring is crickets, which is rude for two reasons.
It's the bad place to.
It's bad. It's bad for a lot of things.
Well, there might be an emergency.
Turn your phones off, but if it's on, make your phone ring laughter.
Yeah, don't. I might forget to turn my phone off, so just in case I do, I'll do a fail-safe here. My new ringtone, you suck. There. Whew. Now I'm protected.
I'm going to turn my phone on and make it foghorn.
All right, so I don't need to talk about any of this other stuff. You just found out that what's happening? What? Okay, well just you keep it in your pants, buddy. He said Dennis Hopper. You meant because you wanted to remind me we were talking about Dennis Hopper. Okay, I'm very sorry. But
are you saying that you can do a great Dennis Hopper impression?
I already did.
You did?
For Blue Velvet.
Let's hear it.
Let's hit the fucking road!
That sounds a little bit more like Bill Paxton from Aliens.
I'm just afraid. Don't put a nickel in that side of the room anymore. It's like that guy. The first thing he said was you were kind of siding on the alligator side. You were like you brought up the sign. You were like into the sign, like, oh, it said no swimming. So of course, if an alligator eats you, you deserve it. And then someone over there with the fucking cricket phone, and then back to you with this side of the room, just trouble, you know, just trouble, just.
Wait.
I know. There's some good people
Spencer, come sit over with me.
Nah, I'm good.
Just kidding.
Hey, Spencer, I thought you did a bang-up job controlling last
Oh,
week.
yeah.
You had a lot of shit in your plate. There was children and
There was, I really.
And then
didn't
Cameron
do
Esposito
much
just said,
about it.
"Fuck it." Like she got 2 sentences into the haunted house story, and she goes, I want to go be with my wife.
Yeah. Cameron was like, "No, I can stay," and plug my show. And then the Rio's like, "Are you sure? I'm gonna go, and we're married." She's like, "No, I can stay. Hey, I came late. Maybe I'll leave late." And then like, okay, so about this haunted house, she's like, "You know what? The oven is on right now." Can't blame her.
I was 5 seconds away from doing the same thing.
All right, so I'm gonna look. There's things that I mean, look, it doesn't matter. I'm excited about our guests. Let's talk to them. We can talk to them about anything anyway. All right, I'm not gonna tailspin interpreting that. You just like the show in general. That's what that meant. It wasn't you like the part where I stopped being the only thing up here. Got my eye on you guys. I can't see you with these lights, but I got my eye on you.
Well, Dan, before we bring out our great guests, can we talk to Jane for a moment because Jane has gifts for us.
Okay, come on up, Jane.
Oh, Jane. Oh, secret absinthe. Totally highly illegal, and I'm not sharing it with any of you.
Yeah, you're staying at my place, but you haven't seen me yet.
Whoa.
That's how it is with all the ladies.
Thank you.
Did you get in okay?
I got in okay. Thank you. Yeah.
What is it like staying at Chez Harmon when it's just like it's a little weird, right? Because you don't even see me.
It's a small hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like self-serve. It's like a Marriott Express.
Oh yeah, it's nice in that way. I mean, I could hear that something was going on upstairs. It sounded very important and
I think it was probably just the night of. It was like you're probably just listening to me watching the night of.
Oh, was that what it was? Okay.
I don't know. I just I was hungover in bed with Cody. We were watching that.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's there was lots of voices and there was like pregnant pauses and then things were going on. But yeah, no, it's very nice. Thank you. Yep.
It kind of sounds like I murdered Cody. And I'm now not going to get away with it, which is it's a good time to.
Is she back there?
Well, we'll find. No,
we haven't seen Cody for 72 hours, which is weird.
Let's. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
so much,
no, I
Jane.
just wanted to drop off the.
How are things going with you? Is it like what's the? Are there any headlines? Like, is there any drama in your life or?
Oh God,
anything we can consume?
I don't want to take time away from the guests. I could go on with the drama for. I'm here for 24 hours, so I
give us a little tease. Just be like I found a head in my trunk, and then just go sit down, and then we'll bring them up.
I could say that'd be a good cue for these, right? Yeah, nothing like that. No,
Jane brought a bottle of absinthe for me today at the drawing room, and she also wanted to bring one for Marilyn Manson, who's a big absinthe freak, who has his own absinthe called Mansynth.
Yeah,
but
you turned me on to that possibility.
Right. So we have now handed off your absinthe to someone that will give Marilyn Manson the absinthe of malice that you make.
That's my hope.
Do you think he'll talk about it on his blog, Mansplaining? Which I get so annoyed by, but it is his point of view. Mansplaining. I was proud of it. Fuck you guys.
It got all the applause it deserved.
All right. Well, we'll check in with you
it's cool.
later. All right. Let's bring our friends out here.
Thank you, Jane. I appreciate the gift. We love you. Also, Jane, I have your glass right here, too. Thank you so much. Dan, do the honors for our guests.
Oh, wait. What? Oh,
I cut you off while we were about to intro our guests.
Okay, okay, thank you. Sorry, it's like Thanksgiving dinner, and all of a sudden, Dad's like, "Your time to cut the turkey," and I'm like, "What? Don't fuck this up!" And then get your car keys in the pudding. Our guests are. I'm so stoked that I feel privileged that we could bag these guests because I think there's probably a lot of people that want to talk to them because they've got this like little hit podcast, My Favorite Murder. It's like meteorically popular.
Is it true that it's more popular than our podcast?
I have no idea.
I think it's a bigger hit than our own podcast.
I don't see the world.
I think we're doing ourselves a disservice by even bringing these two out here.
Oh, that's fine. I'd be happy to hold up that quarter of the chuppah in a Jewish wedding between the audience and creatives.
Right. I will hold up the one of the two quarters. You and I are half a chuppah. That's our promise to you.
And we will sit Shiva for you should the chuppah collapse and kill you. Maybe one of our guests is Jewish and can help us out. I know they're going to talk to us about murder and podcasting and
I can almost be certain that with a name like Karen Kilgariff, she has to be Jewish,
or it certainly has to host a podcast, a murder podcast. Please welcome Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark.
Yeah.
Welcome.
L'chaim.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time I saw you, Karen? I feel like it was decades ago. Like,
was it in that bar?
That bar.
And we were just talking massive shit on that one person?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, do you judge me for that? Because
It's the way I live my life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just because I felt like when I listened to your podcast. And my girlfriend is how I found out about it. She's like such a huge fan, and I was like, oh, that's Karen. And I listened to it for a while. She's like, I love her so much, and I said, yeah, she's really like wise and like has always been an old soul, because I remember that conversation as you being like so chill and accepting and all this stuff, even though, and I felt like I was like toxically like bagging on a mutual friend, and like because I had like axes to grind that were like I was probably like 27 or something, or like a horrible.
Who are you talking about?
Well,
do you see what care we've taken to not?
We are tiptoeing the shit out of this thing.
Knowing Karen, though, that she loved you even more because of that conversation.
Yes, because I'm filled with hatred.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing that I liked about that stuck with me was like, oh God, I love Karen Kilgariff, was that in that conversation, in spite of talking to like who you might have been a toxic turd, and the jury's still out, like you were very forthcoming with like you told me this very vulnerable part of your life, which I don't even know if you share that a lot on your do you on your podcast. You talked about,
what did I say?
Talked about you had an injury that
epilepsy. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was something that was your private life or something. You had like bouts with epilepsy where you would have like these like Russian novelist style seizures, and like wake up and there'd be blood everywhere and
an axe in my head. Yeah.
And an axe in your head.
That's a Russian novelist.
She was talking about Raskolnikov, and yeah, man, that's a Crime and Punishment, Jack. I got it.
Come on, grad students.
All right. All right. Well, that's a relief. God, I'm so glad we got together.
Are you
again.
Still dealing with epilepsy? Is that a thing that goes on for the rest of your life?
It is, yeah. But I take medicine that controls it. So. But
do you have Raskolnikov style seizures, or is that too literary?
I actually don't know who that is. I'm not going to pretend. But
I believed you.
My seizures are controlled with medicine, but when I do have them, I believe they're grand mal. They're the big ones. I just go for it. But that's the reason I stopped drinking. That's
if you're
going to
go big.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Don't fuck around with seizures.
They're grand.
Don't do. Yeah, exactly.
Put the pedal to the metal.
When you have epilepsy, do you stop drinking because is it because you'd be ill prepared to handle a seizure if it happened, or is it because it actually increases the seizures?
They say, I mean, the funniest thing is when you have a neurological problem, they have no idea what they're talking about. Like, they try to tell you things, but it's all, am I right?
It's a self-loathing neurologist. It's like seventh year of grad school. Still
don't know what I'm doing. But it really is all theory. It's all theory. But so, I mean, I was a huge drinker and drank every day and night and had no problem with it until I started having seizures. And then they said, oh, well, you are having seizures because from alcohol withdrawal. And I literally said to the doctor, but I've never stopped drinking. Like, total honest, like, trying to solve the problem.
So obviously you know Dino because you worked on Mr. Show.
Yeah,
like, who continues to be the Yoda of my drinking, and
he's the greatest.
We were we were at the drawing room on Saturday morning at the drawing room. You have these people that they're called the zombies. They're the people that were at after hours on Friday night, and the drawing room opens at 6 a.m. So they're there, but then also maybe me and Dino and Jeff maybe, and Dino had this conversation with one of them. And it's like they really are zombies. Like they've been partying just straight through, and this guy was like, yeah, I'm really sorry, man. I didn't, look. He did one of those things. Like, these are the kind of people. I'm sorry, I totally derailed what we were talking about. Cause I just wanted to say this one quote that reminded me of from Dino. He's talking to this guy. The guy goes like, man, I've been partying for like 36 hours. I was at after hours, and then I came here. And Dino said, yeah, we came here from bed. We're real alcoholics. Anyone can go from drinking to drinking.
So easy.
We came here from the shower, and I was like, I don't even shower. We woke up and said, what's up? Let's go to the bar.
When you wake up and you're not like, what did I do? You're like, let's keep going. Then you're like, you're good.
Yeah.
Make it happen. You're like, what am I gonna do? Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's like Isaac Newton even said, like, if you're drinking and you keep drinking, that's nothing.
Totally.
That's like the fifth law of thermodynamics. He called it no biggie. Okay, so wait, why am I getting this out? Because I know everything. Okay, so I want you guys to guide the path here because I'm so fascinated with true crime just as a human being. I mean, I think we could just nerd out about it a little bit and about murder itself, and of course we're going to do that no matter what. But I'm super fascinated. But I have this problem where I'm always running my mouth about gender and all this stuff on the show, and like prefacing it by going like, of course we're all equal and like, no difference, and that's all stupid general statements and all that stuff. But there's this fascinating role I feel like, and I think you guys have touched on it, and our mutual friend Kat Solon is doing that other thing that's going to be a true crime thing, and like talking to her about it. It's like there is this theme arising that's like, well, okay, it's totally understandably politically not cool to imply that women are wired differently at all, and yet there is this beautiful like advanced state that it seems like, I don't know, it just seems like women are more into true crime, and it seems like now there's all these amazing true crime shows happening because there's a generation that's bringing it out of the gutter and they're making the dark chocolate the artisanal true crime stuff, which, that's right, which is like that's kind of like it's like, okay, you don't have to be like, you don't have to feel like it's a guilty pleasure anymore. It's not like, oh, I'm trapped in a trailer and I don't like myself, so I'm dwelling on the grisly details of people, the only people worse off than me, and I'll just keep doing scratch-offs and looking down on murder victims. We thought maybe that's what it was, this tabloidy, trashy thing. Right. But I just like now it's like, now it can be sophisticated, and now are we noticing? Is there? Do you can please tell me. Gender means nothing, has nothing to do with this, or tell me women are more into true crime for some awesome reason.
I think saying gender is nothing like that's, and we are so different. We're totally wired different. Like,
there's no shame to say that.
I know, but you know these
we're
fucking
just
kids.
That we're wired.
Jesus Christ!
I know everyone likes to react. I know,
yeah.
But also it's good to be on guard against somebody a Belushi like me going. Nah. If I start talking about gender, they're right to set up road flares and be like, "Grandpa's talking about women. Get a rope." Yeah. Like,
it's all about self-correction. It's like we fuck up all the time on the podcast. We say shit because we're just talking. Yeah. And then later on, people are like, "Hi, just to let you know, that was totally wrong, and you're racist." And then we go like, "Sorry, that is not what we meant."
We acknowledge it. We like say beforehand, like trigger warning. Like if you're not okay with people being wrong all the time, then you're not going to fucking like this podcast.
Yeah, you will hate our podcast.
We should do that.
We could. Definitely trigger warning. Don't listen to this podcast. Yeah, if you're, honestly, just don't listen to it ever.
But there is somebody that on our Twitter page that just did you read that? That somebody wrote an article about exactly this thing, which is why are women so into true crime? I'm very sorry that I don't know her name offhand. Oh man! But essentially, this is her article. It was really brilliantly written. But it's when women watch true crime shows, say for example, they can picture themselves being the murderer and the victim.
Aha! See,
and that's the thing. Where it's not that men don't have bad things happen to them. Now we have to do this. It's not that men can't be hurt, and you give so much.
Bad things happen to men too, you guys. It happens.
But with women, it's you have mirror neurons. You're experiencing both positions.
Yeah,
and I didn't even, when you said that, I was like, aha, that's it. But I didn't even think it was like, oh, because of the cultural ramifications of the whole glass ceiling, whatever. That always in true crime, the victim is usually a woman. I wasn't. There's that too. But I was actually going, aha, that is a mythically feminine characteristic is just like, and this can be just as much of a yoke and an infantilizing like sexist thing to say. You're more intuitive. You're more acquiescent. You get it. You're better scanners. When I lose my car keys, but
compliments.
Yeah,
I know. Well, black people have big dicks as a compliment too. Yeah, but it's
but
also
look how they react. They hate it.
It's also a way to you objectify, dehumanize, whatever. Sure. No, you're different. Your little brains, you work different. but I feel safe, which it is safe I'm safely on the side of these. Your big brains, they work different, like because I think that in like I'm such a Campbell freak, and all of this, like there's a meeting with the goddess in mythology, like at the bottom, as low as a hero can go, like in depths, not low as in like down on his luck, low down into the exploring the chaos and unconscious of the human condition and beyond. A hero comes to this point in the story where it often involves aqueous things, swampy bogs and wells and womb metaphors and things, and there's a feminine like energy to it. Sometimes it's literally a damsel in distress, or it's a witch. Sometimes it's literally a woman. Sometimes it's just a destination or whatever. But it's like Campbell calls it the meeting with the goddess, and it's this. It almost feels like when I think of true crime and I think about how when Kat Solon, our friend, when she talks about murder and why people are interested in it, I'm like, I just have to keep making her repeat it because I can't repeat it because I try to like repeat it to other people and go like, well, the thing about murder is it's bad. And then I'm like, Kat, what did you say, Kat? What did you say? And it's like she just remembers how she's like, it has something to do with people who murder people are closer to death. When I say it, it sounds dumb. Like she says this like amazing thing.
They're grasping the fact that we're all going to die, and they're in control of that death. So like, as someone who's had anxiety my entire life and who's also been into true crime and like death stories my entire life, it's like proving the fact that my anxiety is legitimate, but also at the same time saying like making me prepared on how to avoid certain situations where I could get killed.
I feel like. So we're talking about trigger warnings. We're talking about all this stuff, these highway cones and all these things. Your show is like, part of it is people trust you guys. Like whatever that thing is that made me feel when I heard your name again. Oh fuck, she thinks I'm a piece of shit. From 20 years ago.
It's my eyebrows.
You have some essence about you.
They go in like that.
You're a sage person. You're very put together. Like I feel like there's not a lot of shit people could throw at you where you'd slip up and reveal that you had some fucked up value system. Like
or epilepsy.
People trust you. And Georgia, whatever. Come on.
Oh, okay.
It was a joke. Oh God, Jesus! I didn't.
How did you guys? How did you, Georgia and Karen, get together on this? Like, what was the nexus of you guys starting? We have to make a podcast about true crime.
The short version is we were at a party together, and I was telling a terrible story about a terrible violent thing that I witnessed, which was at the South by Southwest. I think it was now 3 years ago.
Where the car killed everybody?
Yeah, I was on the street. I was
like a couple blocks away from that.
Yeah, really?
I
was the last person in line, and I fucking love telling stories like this, and I never get the response I want. I was the last person in line. And then my friends had walked away to the front because X was playing, and they walked up to hear X. And then I was like, oh, fine, why am I waiting in line? And I walked up to say, let's not wait in line, let's just stand out here. And that fucking car came, broke through the barrier, plowed through like 30 people. Thank God my back was to the crowd, but I mean, we were mere feet away. Ugh. And I told that story at a Halloween party where most people had eaten a lot of edibles. And so everybody around me just kind of went gray, and it was like, what? And then she, from like 2 people back, was like, wait, tell me the story. And like her eyes were like...
I was dressed like Glenn Danzig too at the Halloween party, and I was like, what happened? Tell me everything.
Did you wear shorter shoes so you could be tiny?
Had cat litter with me too. Yeah.
Well, so that zeal and that trust or whatever, if that's the combination, whatever it is true crime in general, is it a safe place from this sort of, from our anxiety about political correctness and stuff, because it's simultaneously what could be more sensitive than caring if people got killed?
That's right.
You guys aren't the insane clown posse. You're not using fear to you're not going like, look how not scared we are of it. Like you're not. Yeah. You're going like, oh, look at this terrible thing when you indulge in true crime. But it's also unmistakably like it's not. you can't dress it up as noble. Like it
they're-
doesn't have.
It's real people. Real people have died, and like there was on our Facebook page, there was a woman that got on insisting that she was a fan, and it was like a thread that went probably like almost 300 comments. With this woman going, "Look, I'm a huge fan of the podcast. I'm just saying, isn't this exploitation? Isn't this the worst thing you could do? And she was arguing with and people would come on and go, I really don't think that's the way they're doing it. But isn't this entertainment at the cost of a person who died? Isn't this? And she just kept arguing it. And finally I went on and I said, you're using this word entertainment as if it's all fun a day at the carnival. And although this is entertainment to me, what it actually is me going into the reality of being murdered, being the person that's in the apartment when some fucking dude walks in, or
the family of the fucking people who have to deal with this murder that like isn't going to go to trial because they never find the fucking the killer, or it goes to trial and they get fucking off in 5 years.
Yeah.
I think the other part of our friendship that I think brings a lot to this is that we kind of bonded over vulnerability being a thing off Brene Brown, thank fucking God. And like, so when we became friends, it was like in this like idea of being super vulnerable around each other. And I think talking about how much we're fascinated and scared and have anxiety over true crime and depression is like a big part of it.
So you weren't friends until that night when you guys met at that party and talked about that? Like you guys became friends then?
I think we had met like once before, but we didn't like hang but there was not a bonding.
So that's your
moment.
origin story, not just the podcast, but of you guys being like a duo, like a friendship.
Yes.
That's great.
And then we'd meet over like for lunch and talk about our favorite true, like the conversation would go that way.
Can I ask you a question? What do you think about Nancy Grace?
I think she's bad for journalism. I think she is the fact that she focuses. It's like any small blonde anything that dies. That's when she jumps in front of that camera. I rarely see her talking about people of race and color, which is so many of these murders. The more research we do, there's that real creepy and like this is what we're talking about. Like these are the things we're stumbling on as genuine amateurs. Is when you talk about like women of color who are murdered, their cases you've never fucking heard of. Even if you think you're like the true crime expert, there's like Georgia did one about a murder in DC that was just like it was a bunch of very young black girls, and it's like not BTK and it's certainly not JonBenét Gacy.
Nancy Grace gets vehement about like she
like
just,
Jodi Arias or whatever. I don't even know
boy.
what the fuck that was, except for that she was like
shit.
blonde before and then a brunette afterwards. It was just like but it was
because of Nancy
on the news
Grace.
every day.
Nancy Grace said, "I like brunettes."
Yeah,
I just think I also think
down.
that when you get that like definitive about your opinions about what happened, and you get that like definitive about what's wrong, and like I think when we talk about these true crimes, it's exploring the murders and exploring the crime instead of just being like, here's what fucking happened and period. It's like,
well, isn't that's as we make true crime classier in this golden age of TV now, and I'm not counting one of your favorites, the OJ thing, which I love too. Like that.
You mean The Simpsons?
That felt delightfully. That felt delightfully
Georgia
tabloidy.
called it The Simpsons.
The Simpsons. You're still the juice.
Uncle Juice. Uncle Juice.
I was just listening to you guys talk about. Do you think what killed him is having to say Uncle Juice that many times? Like, I like sell it.
He got Uncle Juice cancer.
But talking about like these new I don't know, the idea that we could make it, get past the reenactment footage with the strobing and the male voiceover going like, what she didn't know was murder, murder.
Which those always involve a red lace bra. If you're obsessed with like any of those shows with reenactments, talk about exploitive. Like
right.
for 15 years.
Keith Harrison? What's that ghoulish?
Yes. Keith Morrison.
Yes. Keith Morrison. Ooh, I hate him. I hate him.
I love him.
I love. Is that 2020 or what is that?
Dateline 20 Dateline.
I think it's a Dateline 20s.
Yes.
If it's him doing it, I can't watch it, even though I love true crime and murder of the week shit.
Yeah.
I can't do it because he's such a shitty writer.
Well, and also he's selling that. First of all, his nose is very sharp, And then he's kind of like he's like staring the camera down like a weird snake, where you're like, okay, just move on.
Like he knows something more
But did
than
she
you?
know that when she left that would be the last time, or did he know that he was going? Like, stop asking questions, cocksucker. You're the fucking journalist. Give me some answers.
We don't know.
Why you keep asking me questions?
Also, those shows, like, when they come back from a commercial break, like, the first half of it is, like, catching you up of what you already fucking saw.
Can't do it. Can't.
Enough. Like, that show should be 20 minutes.
Yes.
So isn't what's for sale there when you flock to true crime because you're like, oh, a death happened. I want to know details. Okay, so like we are conditioned to be a little bit ashamed of that. There's a little bit of like, because you're rubbernecking on the freeway, like you're slowing down traffic. Don't you understand? It's your patriotic duty, your duty to your species to not be fascinated with the innards that are squirting out of someone that has suffered this horrible fate. It's not the fireworks for you. You're a terrible person. You're neither. But underneath that is this insidious message of like that is then carried through by serial killers who do these like interviews and they go like, I'm a super being because everyone else is ashamed of this stuff, and it's like, well, wait a minute, what if we weren't? And are we? Because should we be? Because the when people die and we want to know details, and when it's weird that people died, I'm so terrified right now. Thank you, sir.
That could have been a knife. What the fuck are you doing? You just stood there. You sat there. Jesus. I don't know. It was super weird. This dude walked up and really slowly stabbed Georgia and Karen and Dan.
Well,
it's weird.
Georgia and Karen, you guys, you said that as a woman, you're watching this, and that women you think feel that you can put yourself more in the shoes of the killer and the victim as well.
Yeah.
How much of it? Because I watch it. Is this the same for you too? Like, you think like you start trying to craft in your own mind how you would have done it. Like, what part of it is like I'm going to kill somebody and all I need is like a backyard?
Oh, I did the opposite, where I'm like, how would I fucking karate chop this dude who's trying to kill me?
Right.
And, like, who's parkouring into my fucking apartment.
And there's a deeper thing there too, which is I've been trying to ask my first question, and that's on me, not anyone else. What are we? Aren't we actually kind of memorializing and also like honoring? Like, isn't because fucking giraffes don't do it, that's for sure. Like ants and baboons. Like if a person dies, the weirder the accident, the murder, our desire for details that we call ghoulishness.
It's just a human reaction. That's the
Aren't
human.
We just we're reaching our little tendrils out, and we're like to a wound and we're going like, okay, here's the threshold. The threshold is opened up between life and death here, and not through the way that have been co-opted and systematized by pharmaceutical companies and hospitals and everything. It's like where you just kind of you don't deal with death. We think of death as a disease and one that weirdly that like people it's like we have this like crazy relationship with or lack of with death. And when people are but what we still have that we can get is like, oh, someone got impaled with a stop sign, and we're just like, how does that happen?
Yes.
Where was he going?
Yes.
How much had he to drink?
How can I not?
When will it happen to me?
And if it was going to happen to me, how would I know it was about to happen?
It's like one of the first things we ever talked about. Remember last Halloween or the one before when that guy got in that car accident on the 5 and he ended up it cut in half and up on the exit sign
in Glendale. Yeah,
it was so intense. It's horrible. I'm sorry. I bet there's some people here who are like, I did not come here for this stuff. But
it is this like
he landed on the sign.
On the sign,
but he was speeding and he was being a crazy person.
He was like driving past people, and it was a horrible thing altogether. But I mean, how many times have you driven in LA on a freeway going like 95 because everyone else is going 95 and going, how is this going to end? This could end. I'm in a tin box driving 95. This could go really badly. Well, it went really badly for that guy. How do you not look at that?
About murder is like that was that guy's decision, but like, and I think what I concentrate on female murder so much is that it's not fucking fair. Like, you're living your life, you're going to college, or you're trying to fucking live your own life, and then some fucker comes and takes it away from you, and he's just some fucking idiot, drug addict, piece of shit. And it's just so unfair. It bothers me so much, so I want to read about it and find out what their experience was and find out what their family's experience was, because the entire their entire circle of people that they know and have cared about them, their lives are fucking changed forever.
And that's what I don't like about, as much as I watch all like Forensic Files and Datelines and 2020s and all that stuff, and any movie about it, I hate the journalism because when people but he was being the guy he was being so cold and not emotional when it was happening. Right. But my girlfriend, we were watching The Staircase again. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
And apparently everybody gets Valium, but their lawyers are like, here, take a bunch of Valium whenever you're being interviewed, so that you seem like so you don't overreact.
Oh my god, the whole 911 call thing where it's like I panic so much. Like Gone Girl was like my worst nightmare. Like the first act of it,
because it was written like so poorly.
Well, it was just, but it was
bad
like
movie.
It plugged into my fear that I would wake up one day and some weird thing would have befallen a loved one, and that everyone would start really scrutinizing me.
They will.
They would. But and then like, you know, I've turned my you talk funny, you act weird, you have inappropriate reactions into a fucking gold mine. But on the playground when I was in 6th grade, and if my wife got murdered, it would be back up to life and death stakes of people going like,
we still haven't seen Cody for 72 hours.
and people going like, so here's your 911 call. Like I had one grisly encounter with a guy that had a bad accident, and I like tripped over his leg and and it was gone, and I was like I something clicked inside of me that like sealed off all kind of processing of the viscera. Thank God, because I can't watch. I have to go like this when people shoot up in Tarantino movies. I can't stand the Dan Aykroyd Julia Child sketch where he cuts his finger. I can't. And when I think about it, I get nauseous.
Yeah.
When I give blood, I have to turn my head, and they always have to ask if I'm okay because I like get lightheaded. And but I tripped over a guy's severed leg, and I didn't save his life or anything, but I was James Bond until the paramedics got there. I didn't do anything right, but I was like I didn't faint or puke.
Right.
My point was that like if I'm calling 911 because if you and I are together and you like a belt flies through the window, wraps around your neck and kills you, and I hear tires screeching, I feel like I'm gonna like get the belt and then you're purple, and then I'm gonna sound, the recording's gonna be me going like, I was drinking with my friend and a belt wrapped around her neck and she's dead and you should hurry. So you should hurry, sir. What's going on? Where are you?
You should hurry up and arrest me because I'm going to the big house.
And it's never like a one-for-one relationship between people that behave that way. Well,
I think they're starting to realize that now. That whole thing of like he didn't react correctly, he was very cold, or women get that all the time. If it's some mother whose child died, she must have done it because she wasn't crying in public.
But I just heard the theory that a lot of times the lawyers that they give you sedatives. And that's because they don't want you overreacting to the police or to like prosecutors or whatever.
Right, and then they can't anticipate what the press does. I've never heard that.
And that's why they're not relying on witness testimony as much, because it's so fucking flawed. From our memory to the way we react is like so different from person to person. There's no way to read into that stuff.
What's your guys' most like if you had to pick one like murder mystery trial or thing that is the most like the one that you fascinate on the most?
1, 2, 3.
JonBenét Gacy.
Oh.
Wait, did you say JonBenét and John Wayne Gacy at the same time?
We are so close.
JonBenét Gacy.
JonBenét Gacy, that little drunken
He's the
clown.
bass player for Marilyn Manson, isn't he? JonBenét Gacy?
I heard it was Jane Cook's absence that made him commit all those crimes.
You can read all about it on Mansplaining, a joke I came up with. That's Marilyn Manson's blog, Mansplaining.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Did you have something to do with it?
Did I have something to do with it?
With naming it.
I wrote the joke.
Murder.
I came up with it.
I thought you were saying.
Just leave it, Georgia. So, Georgia, you were JonBenét?
Man, I am fascinated.
Didn't
by
that get back in the news? Didn't that come back up recently?
It's the anniversary.
There's about to be a big,
a documentary series.
Docu-series about it. And I'm
Are
just
there
like,
new revelations in the JonBenét?
Supposedly.
They like to promise that in the promos. As
Yeah,
we
of
all
course.
know.
They're looking
But
into
then again, you have to wait until the very end to find out that nothing's happening.
Right,
Yes.
that we don't know anything.
Always.
Which I love. I love not knowing because it's so much. Like, my thing is, like, I'm really into cold cases because then you don't find out it's some fucking, like, dick lick, like, drug addict who killed her. It's like a bigger fucking mystery that it's like maybe it's this, like, diabolical thing instead of it's like, no, this fucking asshole got drunk and killed this woman who was, like, better than him and he took it away, you know, instead of, like, so I like
I hate when
unsolved
it's
shit.
I hate when it's like a cold case and then I love when it's a police officer and an investigator that finds out, oh shit, like I just never gave up on this, and then one day, like I went back through all the shit and I found some. A lot of it now is, now we have modern DNA stuff and we found the thing. But I like when someone goes, no one ever looked at this one statement.
Yeah.
It was this guy.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I don't
you start
like,
thinking about how often it must happen because for so long, like before there were computers or whatever, and it was just up to whatever. If a policeman was thorough, then things would all get checked, and if someone was a little sloppy for whatever reason,
or the policeman didn't have time, like he was the only fucking detective in that like unit. And the other thing is like DNA evidence isn't fucking final anymore. Like there was some case in Michigan, and they like tested the DNA on this like cold case and on her jacket, and the DNA they found on the jacket was from a perpetrator who was in prison but was 4 years old when the time the crime took place. So like clearly,
did he borrow her jacket?
He did not borrow her jacket. It's just fucking flawed. Because
She was.
humans are doing it.
God damn it! What do you call the guy that does the bris?
Oh,
A moil. She was a moil.
She was a moil.
And wore that jacket.
do you guys know about
was that
about
ski jacket?
the Black Dahlia murder?
Yeah.
You know the house on Franklin where is it Frank Lloyd Wright or Lloyd Wright?
Yes, I know.
Like I just did something at that house where I got to go to the house for the
You
first
went
time.
in there?
And so I was like shooting some stupid thing and went down.
There's a secret room. Did you go to the secret room?
I found out where the secret room was. And
wait, did you see the secret room?
well, it's walled off now, I think.
But there and there's a guy on the other side of the wall. He's going like,
Secret
I
room,
did
bro.
it. I did it.
It was me.
I killed the Black Dahlia. See.
You never know who I am.
Yeah, I'm the bee's knees for killing the Black Dahlia.
mean,
So it's like
the guy
very
that-
authentic. You
the
can
guy
tell
that-
he hasn't been out of there.
The guy that owned that house was, I believe, a physician, a doctor,
Yeah,
right?
he raped his daughter. He was a fucking creep.
Yeah.
His son thought he was the killer.
And supposedly did it, but then he died. So,
He's
so
not.
we'll never know.
He's not.
He's not the killer.
Absolutely not.
But supposedly they brought in when they were trying to resell Frank Lloyd Wright's awesome house there on Franklin and whatever it is, Winona-ish, like whatever.
Yeah.
That they brought cadaver dogs in, and they all hit on the same room.
Oh, I love it.
And
It wasn't the secret room. It was a different room.
No, it was where the secret room would have been.
Got it.
Yeah, but he also performed secret abortions in that room.
Oh, so
That's
just,
why they thought he was.
They just hit on
attached
dead
to
babies
dog.
down there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Did I go somewhere dark?
well, you didn't do it. She's not the
You
secret
guys have a
abortionist.
murder show.
That was too much.
All right, so but now, Karen, you're a John Wayne Gacy guy. You say
John Wayne Gacy. I saw. It's so funny because there's no way this was from my grammar school, but I have this memory of being in the library of my grammar school and opening up a book about John Wayne Gacy. And I went to Catholic school, so there's no fucking way I was in school. But I was somewhere, and I opened up a book about John Wayne Gacy, and there was an illustrated drawing of where the bodies were in the house, and someone goes, "Oh yeah."
that was self-loathing neurologist from earlier.
Oh, that's right. She's just catching up. There were so many drawings, and it was like underneath it said there were 37 boys, or I can't remember if that's the correct total, but somewhere around in the 30s, and it said found. The way they explained it in the house, but I thought it meant in the walls, and then the way it was drawn, it looked like there were people in the walls. I literally stared at the picture for 10 minutes. I was just like, and before that point in my life, I thought everybody was living the exact same life I was living. I thought everybody was middle class. I thought everybody had two parents in their house. Like, I had no fucking clue what the real world was like at all. So it was this real amazing. It was like an epiphany, but the scary version of an epiphany, because I was like, there are grown men out there that will kill boys and put them in the walls of his house.
Yeah, but you think about it, if you hide enough boys in the walls, think of the savings on heating costs.
They are the perfect because they have a vacuum inside of them.
Oh,
Jeff. When you
think of the savings.
Why can't we?
I like the savings.
When you fixate on the John Wayne Gacy murders, so you've probably fixated then on like the timelines of that. Like he's still alive, right? They keep
John Wayne Gacy. He died in jail.
Okay, but after a long while of over and over again, it's like a rare case of like a fountain of like knowledge about John Wayne Gacy, because he just hung out and kept answering questions like why and then what and I've read some of that stuff, and like, so when you're reading those accounts where it's like he just like kept bringing boys back to his house, and then it was like to talk about magic, and then do you want to watch it? He was like, the big thing was like the rope trick. I want to show you the rope trick,
the handcuff trick.
Oh my god, I don't know this.
When you're hearing that story, which is that for me is like the thing. I just like I'm poring over that, and I'm like, I don't know. I am thinking of. I think I'm getting a glimpse of like victim and murderer, because maybe it's because the murderer is the victim is a boy. Mm-hmm. Maybe but I also, maybe that's just like I'm. Are you? Do you detect a difference there because the victims are a different gender?
I don't think so.
Because that would be valuable data in my dumb thesis from earlier.
Yeah, well, I guess I did. I guess in this case I didn't, just because I knew they kept using the word boy, so it felt like my school. You know what I mean? It felt like a man murdered boys that would be my age and put them in his house, and like, what the fuck are we talking about right now? It was like getting secret documents, you know what I mean? But it was just like this book. So, but also what I immediately also went into is like that moment where it's the guy that owns the construction company who says, hey, you did good work today. Come on, I'll buy you a beer. Come over to my house. We have a whole beer. All the guys come. Come on, you'll have a great time. So you fucking go because you're 16 and you're broke and you want to get drunk. Who gives a shit? Afterwards, you're going to go to a concert, whatever.
Oh my God, the places I went when I was 20, like with dudes 3 times my age that I looked up to.
Ditto.
Yeah,
Dude.
Always. And then when you're there in John Wayne Gacy's den, it goes from super fun, cool, chill, everyone's drunk, to let me do the handcuff trick, and suddenly you're handcuffed, and then the bottom fucking drops out, and reality switches, and it turns into a nightmare, but it's still reality. Like, that is the area that I fixate on and can't get over. You guys talked about, we started watching the show because you talked about it on your podcast, I Survived. Mm-hmm. Like, have you guys seen the show?
Oh my god!
Fuck me! Oh my god! Yeah. Like the woman who there's an episode that we went through. We looked for it first.
Mary Vincent?
Was it Mary Vincent?
Yeah, was it? That's the hitchhiker. I mean, I don't even know why I brought it up. I just wanted to. Because that's a person that survived. So when you guys are consuming that. It's like they're sitting these people, they're the victims, and they survived, and then they're talking into the camera and they're taking you through every granular detail of an experience that absolutely should have they should not be telling,
right?
And so what are we feeling when we're watching that?
I will tell you this, and sorry, but this. My sister forced me to watch I Survived one time, and I was like, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to get involved in this. Do not make me. And she was like, come on. No, I swear to God, you'll love it. And basically made me. I was at her house, so I couldn't change the channel. And she forced me to watch it. And the difference between I Survived and all of those other shows is it is the survivor talking slightly off camera to you, saying, here's what happened to me. And as upsetting as it is and insane as it is, and there's all kinds of, it's not all just these murder attempts or hideous things. There's also there's always some fucking Australian that's like, I hiked too far up in the mountains. Like,
my girlfriend and I are absolutely, I mean, it's like, when you're alone and you're watching this stuff, it brings is it toxins are leaching to your surface? Because you're like, it became the running joke. We're like mocking the Australian that
Yeah.
survived a forest fire. We're like, there's a lady with her arms and legs cut off.
I know.
Boo!
That guy chose to go fucking hiking when this chick's like, I was walking on the sidewalk, and you're like, well, that didn't, you weren't like fucking or hitchhiking in the 70s, which was like,
Yeah.
clearly fucking stupid.
They thought it was like driving. They thought it was totally safe.
But the Australian girl that survived a forest fire, like they pulled up in their van and were like, "Well, you survived. Let's talk about it." And she's like, "Really? Oh, all right."
Okay.
And they're like, well, "Which episode should we put her in?" They fucking hung her out to dry.
Well, but the other thing that I love that show to me, the total lack of exploitation is those survivors are telling their own story, and almost every time at the end, it's some badass woman who's like, and then he shot me in the head 3 times, and you're like, I'm sorry, what the fuck is happening? And it's a person, these people, all different types of people, surviving gunshots to the head or being brutally fucking raped and dumped into a ditch or whatever it is, and they're sitting there as a whole person telling you what happened to them and saying, like, I know you didn't mean it this way, but like giving voice to a story that nobody wants to hear and being like, that's my experience, that's why I walk. Then they like show the fucking scar on their neck or whatever it is, and at the end usually they've set up some foundation to help victims.
Right.
Almost every time it's some badass woman who's like, and now I run the crisis center for all the women.
She does. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I think that's so much of the murder thing that I'm fascinated by, and I think women too, because like we're so empathetic and like overly so that like we see this, we see like these murders and like
I think a murder's about to happen.
I think so.
It could happen anytime. It could happen anytime.
I'm on your side. Just,
No, we get it. It makes perfect sense. We understand what you're saying.
You're saying protect. Yeah, stop killing women all the time. All right.
Yeah.
she's pleading. I'm sorry to laugh out loud. She's pleading
true.
to Jeff, please stop killing
I don't
women.
know if that.
But it is. I mean,
I think. Look. Yes. Am I still under indictment? Yes. But
I mean, it is.
I went golfing recently with my friend Cato. Kaylin, Dan's a friend. And, this is not a joke. We've known Cato for a long, long time. He is the nicest guy, the most lovely, sweetest, pleasantest, this goofiest, funniest. Like, he's so much fun to be around.
He was in The Simpsons.
And
that's right.
but he was in The Simpsons.
He was in The Simpsons.
But I've known him for a good long time, and we sat down one time, and I think maybe we talked about it in the show before. We sat down and just like he told me the whole story about everything that he knew would happen that day when the murders happened.
Spill it.
Huh?
OJ did it.
What?
Spoilers.
Fuck.
But so, if you want, I feel like I told the story, but I can tell you what he told me. But
Yeah.
we were out hanging out. But the other day we were out just like golfing. I haven't seen him in like a year or two. And I haven't golfed. I'm a terrible golfer. I suck at golfing. And I had an old ratty ass golf glove with holes in it. It was been in my thing. And so I was like, look at this thing. And also one of my golf clubs had been in the car for a while, so it was kind of like almost like tar coming off of the grip. Mm-hmm. So it turned all black. And he made the joke to cut everybody off at the pass, like, just don't leave it on the ground so somebody finds that glove.
Oh, that's good.
I'm like, what? And everybody laughed. I'm like, oh, right, the glove. And he goes, Jeff, every time I go golfing, somebody does that joke. So he'll be out golfing, and someone will take the glove off, throw it like in a bush, and go, hey, oh, shit, Kato, look at that thing, the glove over there.
Oh, come on.
He says every day of his life for the last 15, 20 years, however long it's been. When I first met him, it had been about 12 years, I think, since the murder. 10. He said every single day somebody comes up and says some horrible shit.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he was friends with Nicole, and he was kind of like this babysitter to the kids because he was like, he was just a goofball, baseball playing, surfing dude.
He's like the guy that was out in the guest house. I mean, like that, to be in that scenario that he was in is so, it's like one of those things where just then
he
suddenly
didn't want to
that's
be a
your
witness.
whole life.
He didn't want to be a witness. He didn't know shit. And he told me, like, he goes, I was hanging out in the guest house, and OJ never came down to the back house and never spoke to him. But he also felt like OJ would follow him around. He didn't know that for sure, but he felt like OJ was having people tail him because he was super jealous of Nicole.
Yeah.
And Kato was never fucking Nicole. Nicole was doing her own thing, but Kato, if you've ever seen him, like I've been around him, like at parties, like at 4th of July parties and stuff like that, and he is like this awesome babysitter. Like the kids love him, and he's got the energy of a toddler, and he just runs around and piggyback rides, and he is the best.
He was portrayed very well in the Simpsons.
I disagree because they made
no, God, no.
I
I actually broke my heart because of having met him. I was like, oh man, that's
a
bummer.
Think he seemed like a kind person who didn't have any fucking.
Yeah, but
clue
they
what
still
was
kind of bimboized him in a way that he wasn't like, he wanted nothing to do with it, and his nervous tension of being up there and not knowing anything, he came off like he was just being giggly and.
But I think it was that generation's first Hollywood murder. I mean, we hadn't had a Black Dahlia or anything, and now we had cameras, and there was a racial component, but it was above all, it was a celebrity murder.
Yeah,
and he represented this new thing. It was like this amazing thing. He had a mullet and he was living in the guest house. It was the Midwest's introduction to
Hollywood.
And he's from Milwaukee. Like he's from.
Yes, that was a big part of it too. Like in Milwaukee, birthplace of Jeffrey Dahmer. Like we were. I guess we had a personal stake in the OJ thing too, because we were like, oh, that actor staying in the guest house. Anyways, so let's go. I want to go to like bedrock because we're talking about like true crime. The grisly murders. I don't even know what the statistics are. I'm going to assume 99.9% the victims are women. The perpetrators are men. Do we? You guys consuming this like on a junkie level? You already stumbled into the class system thing, and. It's like blonde and blue eyes, and it's like like we heard what you said. You stumbled into that. Have you reached any conclusions or had any changes of heart or new affirmations of like? And I'm not even sure how to pose the question. Like, are we doing things from the world of the sane to indoctrinate women into like a victim culture? Like, are we all participant in some kind of like? Is that a real thing? Are we somehow?
I mean, I think there's a way that could be true in some general swaths. I'm definitely not educated enough to speak on this, except for
I know that if
to
a
my
chick
own
gets eaten
opinion.
by an alligator, we tend to blame the kid.
That's right.
Like we tend to figure out why it's not that bad an alligator and not that bad of a corporation. And I'm sorry, but I'm trying to be Noam Chomsky about it. But that we have a bias there. If somebody gets killed by a lawn dart, we tend to side with the lawn dart. Yeah. Like so especially if it means lawn darts get recalled, we go like, oh, another fucking piece of apple pie in Americana recalled.
Sorry. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about lawn darts, my brother.
What are lawn jarts?
Lawn darts were a deadly weapon that you used to be able to play with.
Lawn darts?
Jarts.
Jarts with a J.
With a J.
Yeah, you could throw a javelin at your friends, and it would land in somebody's throat
and it would
kill them.
stab a child.
So they did
then they
2
stopped
rounds
doing it.
of these? They did lawn jarts and then lawn darts, and they were like, we got to stop with lawn
It was like, have you played Cornhole, the beanbag
No,
thing?
I know all about lawn darts. I did not know about lawn jarts.
Yeah.
I didn't
That's
either.
crazy.
1980? When were you born?
1980.
They were giant lead poles with plastic fins on them that were designed for airtime
and for penetrating the human skull.
Right.
So anyways,
like,
we tend to side with the tend to side against the victim. So I think that it's even before you get into gender politics, it's like the potential for bias exists in this. Like, where is it coming from, and what is it? Sorry.
Personally, I think it's the journalism. I think it's what story sells and what's the most exciting. You have a child that's in beauty pageants. It's a 6-year-old dressed up as a 35-year-old secretary, and she is murdered. We've been talking about it for 20 years, and that's because that is the ultimate. That the news can bring that up and sell 2 million magazines easy. You see it constantly. It's like In Touch. Once a month has a JonBenét story, and it's the oldest story there is.
But part of the fascination with that is that it was a fucking rich white family, right. And so like they're part of the reason it's never been solved and was such a big deal is because those people got away with it because they were a rich white family. You know?
Within all that, certainly if it bleeds, it leads. While we're leading the bleeding, are we also lacing everything with some kind of fiber optic cable that sends the message that, well, she left her house. You know?
Yeah, I think so.
And doesn't it just come back to like it's a holdover from television? As I've always said, it's an appliance. If you talk to your refrigerator, it'll tell you nothing's cold enough, and that's not true. And if you talk to your toaster, it'll tell you like all bread should be like crispy and hot and brown, and that's not necessarily true. I like its attitude, but if you, it's just that the television happens to be able to talk to you and does its job as an appliance, and the television would tell you not enough people are sitting right in front of me, glued to me, afraid to ever stop watching me.
Yeah.
And is that, and not so much, of course, a big helping heaping of misogyny that is as old as the actual world's oldest profession, hating women. You can't beat the hours. But that is it could be just like a thing. It's like maybe we can like break out of it because that's really, really specifically about a time a broadcast era thing of like, just be afraid to stop watching your TV, ladies. Be afraid to, because this lady left when she stopped watching her TV and she got her head cut off.
I think because we're not experts and we're not journalists and we're not like, all we can do is like impart our experiences, and part of that is like it's so hard to walk the line between victim blaming and telling women like you can tell someone to fuck off before they fucking talk to you, and you can fucking pepper spray someone before they try to talk to you. You don't have to be fucking polite, and it's this all we could like. I've been in instances where like I should have fucking been killed, or I shouldn't have been so nice, and it's all I can do is say my experiences with that, which is that women are taught to fucking be polite and smiley and cute and fucking
there's so many
accessible.
minute by minute repercussions for not being like a perfect little angel that has her perfect social network arranged around her.
But
you're gonna get punished for that in ways if you live.
But I think that what's beautiful is, first of all, we know now television is a dying art, and that we know that the children of today are online and they're kind of like making their own, they're forging their own path. So they're not in the same way that I feel like I was anyway, taking this stuff in like just whole cloth and just accepting whatever they see, where it's like, oh yeah, I better be scared or whatever. There's so many more I feel like there's so much more independent thinking when people get on, even when it's Facebook, like on our Facebook page, people will fight for 7 days about something. They'll go back and forth, and that's because it's the kind of love of the discussion, and there really is stuff that gets said and learned, I think. And I think these days people aren't so, maybe women aren't as willing to just be like accepting of that. Like most people don't, the whole idea of like, oh, I can't be rude, or someone's going to think I'm a bitch, or resting bitch face, or any of that stuff is like, well, I think that's cool. I love resting bitch face. I think it's hilarious, and I think you can get a lot done with it.
And resting bitch face comes from years and years of being bombarded with people when you fucking smile at them, they think it's an open invitation to talk to you.
Also,
so
men are allowed to have resting bitch face at all time, and it looks like savoir faire.
Yeah.
And it looks aloof. And
what are you, the
charming.
manager of a bank?
Yeah.
Oh, cunt. I'll give you all my money.
Now, I'm so fascinated. I mean, I can't get enough of Ryan Lochte in the news because I love that Colbert and Trevor Noah and everybody is just taking 1,000 tons of shit on this dum-dum.
I don't know who this guy.
If he kills somebody, I'll watch that forever. like if we find out that he ever just like murdered a puppy, that'll be news because like he's just so dopey. Like I love watching like entitled, rich, like protected assholes just get in trouble. He won gold medals.
Yeah.
And then he peed on a shell station in Brazil. And then he didn't have to go on Matt Lauer and talk about it. He could have gone home.
Yeah.
That's that Olympic thing. Yeah. The only thing I've heard about that is that it was like this hilarious comedy of errors that all had to do with, like, you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
It was because a guy...
he told his mom, and then his mom talked to the thing, and they followed up on the story.
He didn't report it. His mom reported it from America.
So,
because
that's why I don't talk to my parents.
Yeah, so
you never know what will go
Spencer
wrong.
told me this story. It sounds like the guy's just chill, but it was like same relationship with anybody's mom. That's like, yeah, mom, and made up a lie, and then his mom was at the DMV going, my son's a gold medalist, and whoopie doopie doo. And
he didn't want to say he was out cheating on his girlfriend, and he was out like banging chicks in Brazil and got super drunk, and he should have caught the flight, and he peed on a thing and acted like an asshole, which I'm sure he's done many, many times.
So have I. Never told my mom.
Exactly.
Always told her
And
I was
the
at
mom
Rocky
goes,
Horror Picture Show, and then I came home.
He told his mom.
Right to bed.
He made himself to sound like the outlaw Josie Wales, and he's like, "My son's the outlaw Josie Wales, like he's a hero." And then it's like, no, like he was just a drunk douchebag. It's fucking hilarious.
These aren't kids, though, right? When we think of,
I think he's 30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's
well,
pretty- he's
I guess
pretty
a
old.
kid by our new definition, but the Duffer Brothers are kids. That's how it is.
The swimmers he left behind were kids. Like, he was the
They're like
old guy,
24.
and then he was like, well, I got a plane to catch. See you dudes later. You're going to get in trouble with everybody
All
in
right,
South
well,
America.
I have no details. Okay, yeah. yeah.
So fun though.
Pretty awesome.
So fun.
He's an amazing
I didn't
man.
watch a lick of the Olympics. I feel fine.
I miss them. I love the Olympics.
I didn't think these Olympics would happen. I don't know why I didn't think they would
I was
happen.
really
Because of
excited
Brazil?
about all the terrible stories that were going to
Yeah.
come out, and there was only like 5 of them.
It was just like the water turned green.
Also, did you guys hear that Ryan Lochte almost got murdered? I mean, shit was crazy down there.
What about the dude?
Hot gossip.
You want to rally around a villain that I'm pretty sure is safe to. None of us will go to hell for verbally lynching.
Let's do it.
What was the fucking thing? I read one article about it. The dude who did a grinder sting, like it was
Oh, what a dick.
and he was outing people from
Yes.
different countries, because it was
What an
because he
absolute-
couldn't get into the inner sanctum and do his expose on how they all fucking party and stuff, and so he from outside the walls of that inner sanctum was like, well, what can I do? And I mean, this is what I'm hearing, but
he made a fake Grindr
and he made a fake
profile.
Grindr account and was and then was did an article that was about all the dudes that answered
And
his
outed
Grindr
a bunch
call,
of fucking people in countries where being out is not okay. He's just such a
including
this is-
America. If you choose not to be out,
Yeah.
just to interject that, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
No,
the
that's what journalism is. That's what it's called now. So when we're fucking Nancy Grace can suck it, that's what it is. They're ruining it for fucking everyone else. It's legitimate.
I like the Olympics because if the U.S. women were their own country, they would have come in second for gold medals. That's how many fucking gold medals the U.S. women did. I love it. I cry every goddamn time. Also, there was me and my girlfriend were watching men's synchronized diving. All the guys let's just say they look like hot gay dudes. They look like runway model.
They're insane looking.
And one guy's name was Steele Johnson, which is fucking Steele Johnson. There was a woman named Misty Hyman. There were 2 guys on the German team named Butt and Fuchs, and they were standing next to each other all the time. It looked like butt fucks. It was fucking great. If that doesn't make you want to watch the Olympics, then maybe you and I aren't friends.
There was another. You worked for Ellen for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm. First 5 years.
I'm
yeah.
assuming it was an honorable discharge, and you have good things to say about it.
I don't know if we'll go into that on this episode.
But regardless, I thought it was. Did you see the thing where she posted her camp posted the Photoshop thing of her riding Usain Bolt?
Usain Bolt, yeah.
And it was am I crazy or was that
she's like, this is how I go grocery shopping from now on. And people are like, you're racist. He's not your mule. He's not your donkey.
No, okay, so those people are racist, right?
Yeah,
I'm not the crazy one.
No, the joke is he's fast.
Yeah.
The joke is he's fast.
And
I'm lazy.
This phenomenon of I guess it's always been around, but now you can really look at it and point at it. It's like this person's so woke that they can perceive racism all kinds of places. Yeah. How? With an uncanny ability to project it, and extrapolate it.
Their proof is that you're arguing it. That's it.
Yeah.
The proof is that you're fighting back or saying, no, I'm not.
You're looking at a picture and going oh, I get it. You're saying he's a pack animal. I just think that's amazing. It's I'm gonna now solve racism somewhere else other than myself.
If Donald Trump photoshopped himself on top of Usain Bolt, then that would be cause for alarm. But I think Ellen's safe. I think she's making a joke about
I won't answer for her.
Is it true that you gave her a Misty Hyman?
Yikes.
Boo.
So, knowing that we're definitely not into victim blaming, is there
Here's a section called victim blaming.
Is there a list of things that you guys are putting together when I watch Forensic Files, I'm like, like Jeff and I always say, okay, so if you're going to get away with murder, have a boat and some, yeah. Do you guys have a
We
list?
don't always say that, Dan. We said it once, and that was between us.
Don't have a boat and borrow a boat from a cool friend.
I don't even think it counts anymore because there's just cameras on the boats now, and you can't like. But is there a list of things that you guys have started to acquire that are kind of like don'ts for people that would like to stay not murder victims?
Well, fucking hitchhiking, I mean, everyone knows it, but you would not believe what went on in the 70s.
Come on.
Boys and girls were getting murdered. There were 3 freeway killers in Los Angeles between 1970 and 1980. 3 different serial killers killing hitchhikers on the freeways. So
when hitchhiking was popular and all of the hitchhiking can kill you urban legends were happening, that wasn't just society coming down on something that threatened the automotive industry.
No, that wasn't a scam of any kind.
And they weren't urban legends. That was
that was like a dangerous thing to be doing for everybody.
And also is another kind of like victim area that nobody talks about was gay men. That the two of the freeway killers were specifically picking up and killing gay men. Mm-hmm. And there was one, I think, a reporter that was in Orange County that found a file that said like the freeway fag killer or something, and that's how he put it together that this one person was responsible for killing here, and it was the same person responsible for killing in Orange County. Mm-hmm. Like nobody gave a shit. It's just another one of those things of like victims that don't matter.
Well, it's like calling when you're like, this guy is killing prostitutes instead of saying this guy is killing women, which is like what's really happening. People just immediately don't give a shit if it's the word prostitute.
Right.
So why are they fucking using it?
That's the ultimate. She asked for it.
So don't hitchhike, don't be gay?
I mean,
yes, Dan.
Don't be a sex worker.
If you're gay, be careful. Like, be more carefuler.
It's like I like up at like the main pockets of serial killers is like Washington State.
Pacific Northwest. I mean,
and so I was just up there, and they have these little roadside. That's where all the serial killers come from. They're all born. They either do all their killing there, or they're all born. Yeah, exactly. And they all move along or go somewhere else and do it.
Yeah.
But there's these little coffee shop places where one girl works there, and she's like, it's bikini coffee place, or lingerie coffee place, and it's in the middle of the countryside, and everyone that pulls up is dudes in trucks with guns on the racks and stuff like that. Like, you live in the capital of serial killers, and like you're letting women just work alone in the middle of.
See, that's the go ahead.
Well, just if those women had guns too, it'd all work out.
Let the good girls in bikinis have guns.
When are we going to test this theory?
I hope they do.
Until everybody has a gun, and we see if all the killing stops.
So we all got guns up here. Are you guys ready? I just don't think it's just so fucking. It pisses me off, and it's so unfair, and it'll never change. That like I can't go for a fucking walk at night without because I weigh and I'm smaller than a fucking dude who just feels like was raised badly and hit his head as a kid and he wants to fucking murder people.
You know what's crazy about that is I have to imagine that probably because you maybe have like a fistful of keys in your pocket or something because of but I have to imagine that if you and I got into a fight, I don't even know. I mean, it's that's the thing. It's I'd
get your neck.
That's double the
go
crime.
Right for your neck.
Let's find out. Let's find out.
I'm not taking.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner.
Saying it's an extra crime that it's like the idea that if you're window shopping for a victim, it's kind of it outrages me that I'm not an option because I'm a 6-foot nerd. Like I'm such an easy kill. And I want to have that. And I think part of
I would totally kill you. And then rape
Happy birthday.
I don't like having my underdog status taken away from me by women.
Yeah, the thing is,
that's how Gamergate started.
Yeah,
that was my reenactment. That was my masterpiece theater of
but that's
I was already a nerd. What's going on here? If they're playing video games,
that's completely no matter how low status or small or whatever you think you are as a guy. You've never had to worry about being in an elevator. You've never had to worry about walking through a parking structure. You just don't. I mean, like in certain neighborhoods, I might get jumped here, but I'm not going to get sexually assaulted.
Well,
probably.
now let's go deeper and sadder and add black woman if you're a black woman. So and you guys mentioned it. So like the most if you're a niche, like you're into murder, you know about what's his name, Sleepyhead, the sleeper
Grim Sleeper.
That
little bear from the Motel 6.
That's how I take things back. I try to give him cute names.
Yeah, that helps.
Little sleepy pants.
It's a coping mechanism.
He thought he was a badass, but I call him Pajama Man. And he's like going, we know about that. I watched that documentary, and it was like, it's fucking profound, and it's profound in a sad way. Like if you watch an informed documentary about drug policy or something like that, like if you're in the market for white guilt, and I mean your shopping cart is full already, but like if you want to really like fill that fucker up, like that documentary, because it's just every frame of it from beginning to end is just shining a flashlight on a spot that has no flashlight ever, no camera trained on it, nothing. Like, oh, do you want to be the most prolific, most successful serial killer in the world? Just live in this neighborhood and kill this demographic.
Well, it's called living in it's called being a high. What is it called?
High risk?
High risk. You're a high risk demographic. So that's why when they kill prostitutes and drug dealers and drug addicts, it's their fault.
Sex worker.
A sex worker, excuse me. It's because quote, and this is why they don't really worry about it, is you're a high risk victim.
And so
it's your fucking somehow it's your fault.
And so we're both. I think we're all watching The Night of. And is there a last episode tonight?
Tonight. Don't say anything.
Yeah.
I'm so scared.
John Turturro has a little monologue in there when he's talking to his like little protege, and he mentions, but it culminates in like urban women, like they're like a lotus leaf, like they're why would that be? I mean, because he rambles through. I'm assuming that is somehow based in some kind of reality. Why would you want black women on your jury if they are the most at risk? If they are the most like, is there a horrible like? Is there anything behind that Wheel of Fortune letter?
Well, because he was saying you do want black women on your jury.
That's what the thesis of his monologue was. Yes. And it didn't really. I don't know if that was based on anything.
Oh, I don't.
I'm scared to incriminate myself, so I don't. Like I don't know. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Also, I haven't watched the whole thing.
I guess maybe if I was gonna speculate and get, which would be like podcast suicide, but it was like, I guess I would be trying to get into the area of like, again, is there a victim signal sent through media? You know, it's like you deserve it, and is that so fucking like, could that be actually so effective that it would carry over into your outside watching television life and into everything that you do? Like, can you really just?
But I think that it goes to the individual, because there's so many people. Even in that Grim Sleeper documentary, that fucking woman Pam he drove around with was such a badass.
Amazing.
She had lived a life. She knew that whole neighborhood. She knew the guy. I think she had been his victim, right? Like it was an amazing example of like, I think that the storyline might be victim, but I don't think the reality for the average woman is victim. And I think that's the thing that's bubbling up in all of this, is like, now that everybody has more of a voice on the internet and people get to kind of say their shit. Yes, there's fighting. Yes, there's Gamergate. Yes, there are people who want to hate they want to other people so that they can get away from themselves. But ultimately, what's coming up out of all of this is strength and a voice, and people that are watching other people speak for themselves, and then maybe they didn't have a strong mother or a strong father. Maybe they didn't have any good example, but they're watching people online going, yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, that's fuck this shit. Like, I don't have to do what I was. Maybe you had a mother who raised you to be like, you be polite no matter what. You still are an individual that can make that decision for yourself. Well, I mean, yeah, we get it. That's really it at the end of the day. So there can be evolution, I think, because of the way kind of the internet is, and just kind of the way people are connected these days.
You have neuroplasticity, my therapist says.
That's right.
I can be a douchebag at 27 when I'm talking to you, and like I can slowly like force myself to think differently. It's actually possible. Giraffes can't do it. They can't do it.
But I mean, that's the thing, is you can see course correction online, and people are slowly learning that you can fuck up badly and still go, sorry, I was wrong. And oftentimes people do it because they write a think piece or they do whatever, but it's like that Lindy West story where the guy was harassing her to the point where he was emailing her, asking her if she thought her dead father was ashamed of her, or some really intense, really personal trolling. She called him on the phone and said, hey, I found out it's you. Why did you do this? And he had this whole thing of like, I'm so sorry. And like, it's that thing of like, internet trolls, that's just as real as the internet and the moment and the time that's taking place. There's a real human being on the other side of that. There's real human beings on the other side of all of these things. And I think people are slowly starting to learn that.
And at first it takes the form of something that feels dehumanizing to the wrong people at the wrong time. I think one of the big ironies is you have the Spock demographic. I'll claim ambassadorship of that group. I'll just go ahead and say white, privileged, spectrumy, so I can always felt like an underdog, always very prideful about the fact that he always knew how the systems worked and why they were unfair and all these things. Suddenly being told, oh, you don't know nothing, it's hard being this, it's hard being that. You have this weird impulse where you're like, well, wait a minute, logic should rule the day. It always has for me. In spite of getting beat up in gym class, logic always prevails. So why are you being so illogical about this? And then you're hearing somebody go like, that's what the fucking person just said to me that is oppressing me, you fucking pig, you asshole, you fuckface. And you're like, well, that's not very logical. Meep, meep, moop, moop. And that's what's happening right now, is these as this water table rises. But I think I'm hearing an optimistic message here, and I share it. Like I feel, I go through these funks where I'm like, we're just fucked. We're so fucked. We're such toxic pigs. But we're not. I mean, partly it's like listening to you talk about murders as my girlfriend and I go off to sleep, and it's like, if murder itself, which should just be this horrible thing where road flares are set up and traffic is stopped and people are yelling things out about OJ and gloves not fitting, throwing Barbie dolls with duct tape on them onto the Ramsey's lawn, and everything gets gross around the scene of a death. Everything gets toxic. Everything the actual putrefaction of the corpse is reflected by a societal rot. So we all stink the closer we get to death, the more we talk about it. But it's undone by a podcast where you're hanging out and there's a little bit of coffee and a little bit of you guys are friendly and chatting, and you're going like, there's a little bit of don't go in that house, girl, and there's and then a lot of like depth of like what would it feel like to be in that moment and all this stuff. The listening to stuff like that reminds me that like that's not possible if not for this whole flood, like this unfortunate metaphor right now for our friends in the South. Sorry,
it's true, because that's all fear. It's all fear. It's the fear. Everything we talk about is managing fear. It's dealing with fear. If you are dealing with a person online that you fucking hate and you want to tell them how much you hate them, that's all well and good, and you can do it and you can type it in and it's there forever. But at the end of the day, it's in you. It's your thing. And slowly but surely, it was like we were all in grammar school when the internet started, and we're like, oh my God, they talk bad about me on a fucking, a page, I'm dead forever, or whatever. And then you slowly go, oh, that was probably a 13-year-old in a basement somewhere. It's, you know what I mean? And we're all developing and growing as these conversations are happening at lightning fucking speed. And as we do and develop and grow, that we're learning to manage ultimately our fear of death, and ultimately it's human connection that makes us happy.
Our fear of each other and our fear of ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah, like what is your worst nightmare in a conversation? The part of the irony is tying it to that. If you're a woman walking alone at night and you are bound in by all these rules that you didn't even know you had until it's too late, when it's like somebody is creeping you out, and it's like you have these instincts kicking in about, oh, well, I don't want to be a bitch if I survive this. There's a similar thing playing out for everybody online because they're all anonymous. There's like some of that stuff is getting. There's an uplifting like cowardice being revealed because it's like, oh, you started an account that is exclusively for trolling, but when then fists still start flying and that person will still express some kind of weird defense of some position.
Yeah.
No matter how much they think they're like just vandalizing like some kind of groupthink, they get freaked out when you like come at them. And so we all get freaked out when we feel unsafe. And so it's like, okay, if the internet is a cesspool of a bunch of cowardice and toxicity, could that give way to a Venice that you go, okay, so let's put some sticks on top of that and a gift shop over here and
make some good fucking art,
and
you know, like while you're up above the water. That's the whole idea. It's just like, instead of like, yes, that's a reality. Just like fucking Donald Trump's tweets every single day are a reality. But that does, I have friends who are in full fucking panic about Donald Trump because that's all they see. It's all they hear. It's all those news networks talk
about.
It's
kind of good, right? It's like, it's called a vaccine. It's exposing your system to things that...
And to go, that's not okay with me. The idea that this man thinks that he's going to build a wall is not okay with me. It's not okay with me that he says all Mexicans are rapists. None of this shit's okay.
And you can't tweet every day as a politician and have that be the reason why you win an election.
No.
Like you can't
Quite the opposite, I would say.
Right. You can't... It's not just like... It's not like starting a mattress store and going on TV and going like, my prices are crazy!
That's right.
Like as Duncan Trussell's theory on what Trump is doing, which scared the shit out of me.
And also, the part of the reason why like talking about murder makes me feel better, even though I have these like fucking crazy issues about being scared of being killed, is that when you acknowledge these people that this has happened to, and they're still humans, and you can still fucking relive their experience, and it makes you happy for your life a little bit more. I feel like it makes me value life and value the fucking experiences I get, and that I haven't been murdered yet, and how lucky I am, and like acknowledging that this happens all the time, and it could go like this, or you could live to 105 like my grandma, and like you just don't have any fucking clue what you're experiencing
I think your grandma's gonna get murdered any day now.
She's already dead.
Oh shit!
Thanks a lot.
Let's look into that. Has that been investigated?
Are you saying you did it?
I'm just saying I suspect foul play.
Are you guys shifting your focus? You said you found out this demographic and the if you're not the grim sleeper, but you're still. Are you putting pressure on yourselves to like? Are you shifting your? Are you going to do more episodes about the less than famous like serial killers and victims? And
Georgia's always done those ones. She likes to do like a deep dive and find those kind of rare ones that people may have never heard of.
I imagine the fact that they're rare means that there's less software to run on that platform.
Yeah.
It's like the point is the system is looking at it as a bunch of garbage, so
especially
it's not...
because every fucking article takes a paragraph from another article and rewrites it. So you have to read like 18 of them before you can really pick out the stuff that wasn't rewritten in every other article.
I hate research so much. I fucking hate it.
Georgia, what do you gravitate towards? Are you trying to find the off the beaten track ones?
I love unsolved murders. I love
that aren't big media sensation ones.
No, like family murders that are just like that. They happen in '67, and they have a clear fucking like a clear motive and a clear suspect, and that suspect is still alive, and yet it just hasn't found either the right web sleuth or the right fucking detective to open it back up, and it's just
or there was
there.
some shitty like prosecutor in the first place.
Yeah. And then I say the name of the person who's a suspect, and then Karen has to say, just so everyone knows, we're not like you have to like have a disclaimer in there because I'm just blaming this person who's like a
fucking went off,
still alive.
We shouldn't talk about it.
Dan,
I'm doing it again. We did the legal dance.
I've been asked by our producers, is this a terrible time to do a MeUndies ad?
No, it's not. I mean, I think that in this age of murder and I mean, whether or not it makes you want to live more or prepare for death, as your mother always told you, underwear is important. I don't know if that's...
You know,
okay.
DNA evidence has to go somewhere.
I would go dry on this one musically.
You want to do it dry?
Yeah, yeah.
Do it dry.
I'm gonna
do it dry.
Did you girls know that there is... There is a material twice as soft as cotton.
Why no, Dan?
I was about to do some dumb metaphor about like victims' throats or something, and it doesn't. Yeah. I was going to undo everything, and then I shared my work, and you guys punished me for it. So who's the villain?
Just like the internet.
Yeah, I was honest, and I censored myself. Now I'm going to do a mass shooting. All right. After a quick manifesto about my underwear. By the time you see this, I will have murdered 1 million people. I love my undies. I love me undies. No, me undies are soft.
Yeah.
They're made of a space age fabric.
Go back to the part about people's throats.
People's throats will go, oh, when they see your underwear. If you replace cotton, which has a horrible legacy of actual murder, with a new synthetic fabric that probably the only bad thing that modal ever did, that's the new fabric, it
was
probably
kill you with comfort.
Yeah, or put like it probably has put lots of people out of a job, right? If it's able to be made by robots or something. But who were those people? What's that? Yeah, no. Then they give us money, and then we keep. Yeah.
Dan, did you know that if you go to meundies.com/Harmontown, you get 20% off your first order, and if you don't like them, you get to keep them anyway.
I know that's the crazy thing. I mean, I know it's weird.
You don't even
someone that
like
gives you underwear doesn't want them back, but. But you can just keep them. You can just exploit the system. I truly do think. I mean, this is a golden age of podcasting where we're in a sweet spot now. 5 years from now, I may have to be more shameful in my advertising because I won't be able to say. I'll be like, you know what? You know what's great is General Electric's new cluster drone. Takes care of those unwantable third world dictators. From a distance, your family can appreciate and passes the savings on to AT&T. But right now, it's MeUndies. I mean, all they do is cradle your balls, labia, and or combination of both, which you are fucking American and entitled to have.
That's right.
And it's your fucking business too. It's called privacy. It's different from honesty. This is a company that will swath your nethers in fucking like.
They're soft. They're soft on your nethers. They're also soft on murder, which I think that's a problem. Well,
the only I want to clarify their position about that. They were asked, "Do you like murderers?" And all they said was, "We believe they are as entitled to comfortable underwear as anyone else."
Right.
In my opinion, that is their corporate position. Yeah. I value that. I don't want to wear underwear made by a corporation that is dipping their toe in politics. I want them. I know they wouldn't win a popularity contest saying it, but the truth is, my favorite underwear company would be the one that said, you know, maybe if Hitler had better underwear, right. Some lives could have been saved.
He would have only killed 3 million Jews.
I want my underwear company looking at everything through the lens of underwear. Right. I want them to put genocide and crime and morals on the hamper, as they say. On the back burner.
Do they say that?
Yeah. And another company, new hamper back burners. When you don't want to cook something in the immediate sense and you want it to slowly simmer, why not put it on a bag of dirty clothes? New hamper back burners. No, but back to MeUndies.
Go to MeUndies.com/Harmontown. Get, I think, 20% off. Wear it, jerk off, poop in it, and then.
That's the thing I want to stress.
If you don't like it, don't send it back. But I say, poop in it, send it back.
I'm telling you.
I say, let's all get our first MeUndies.
My audience.
Poop in them, and then
I know
send
you're
them
out
back
there. You're thinking like,
tell them to fucking show us where the rubber meets the road.
Oh, God.
I would just like to say, as a Feral Audio podcast, I'm never taking another note about the way we read an ad again.
We put a lot of thought into this, Karen.
This is a special bonus for you guys. We invited you to the scene of the murder of monetization.
Wait. Do you guys also
There's a chalk outline of all of our income.
Do you two also do MeUndies ads?
We're going to.
You going to? Do you guys want to try one right now?
We're gonna steal this one.
We're just gonna take it and plug it in.
Think about the Holocaust.
Dan Harmon's MeUndies. I want a Clio. His MeUndies ad went to it hit every base you want to hit with advertising. The Holocaust, serial killing, shitting in your pants,
corporate sabotage.
Corporation, yes.
But I do want to say.
But they're so comfortable. Though.
I do want to say they are. This is the thing that crosses the lines between. Like, I know we've been indoctrinated in our society when we look at people in pictures who care about their underwear, or companies that are selling their underwear. It's like we a lot of people in my audience who are a larger demographic than people would like to believe. I'm talking to you, Senator Ben Carson. I don't know what I'm talking.
Senator Ben Carson.
I don't know.
Also, oh shit, you're a senator now.
I'm talking about people who are like, I don't care about underwear. Exactly. You know why you don't? Because they don't matter, which is why they should be comfortable. And you don't have to be like, you don't have to, for instance, just a couple of bullet points. Let's say, for instance, maybe you don't love the way you look in your underwear. Maybe it's not something you look for. This isn't that kind of, these are comfortable. I'm saying, like, and also, I just want to throw this out, and I swear, I know this is something that I tell you people, in spite of my my sponsors' wishes, I'm sure. These things are good for wearing more than once. They're better than cotton for fucking being a slob. I wear I get way more with wearing MeUndies longer.
I gotta say, as someone who I get so angry at commercials that I yell at them, ask my husband, I just like can't even fucking deal with it. This is like, beautiful, and I love this so much.
And if you go,
thank you.
What is it? MeUndies.com/Harmontown. Isn't it like a 20% discount, something like that? Didn't I hear that right?
You get 20% off on your first pair, I think. Let me double check that.
20. I think 20 is funny.
That's fucking crazy.
I say 100% off.
Whoa.
Hey, if you come into my house, all underwear, 100% off. But that ties into
everything must go.
that ties into the mattress ad from last week.
So are women safer now?
I was just gonna say,
than they were.
How much do you pay for a half-hour ad on?
I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know because I don't want to feel guilty. Like if it's $8, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna get heartburn tonight.
I'm pretty sure we only sold 2 pairs of underwear.
But they're $400 each. So it's fine.
So it's fine.
Yeah, but the thing is, you get to wear them. You say 20% off.
They're free if you are a dick and pretend you don't like them. They're free.
Yeah, yes. If you go there and go and to the hashtag or the /Harmontown, just buy a bunch of free underwear.
And then say, oh, I'm dissatisfied with my underwear. That's the new shoplifting.
Yes, Dan was
They
wrong.
kind of want you to do it. Like, remember Adobe in the early aughts? It was like, they knew I was stealing all their software. Because they knew I'd turn 40 and be unable to steal it anymore and have to buy it. But I would have learned all the Adobe software. What else am I going to use to Photoshop my stuff? Moto Mop? No
way.
I'm going to use the thing I learned by stealing when I was 25.
That's right.
Is the MeUndies ad still happening right now?
MeUndies.
I mean, we normally end it with a jingle, don't we?
Yes. It's a controversial jingle, but here it is. MeUndies. If you wear them, you won't get killed. I don't know if they make themselves legally
Kind of a big claim.
accountable. I don't know if it's a song, so I don't know if they can claim parody.
If you or someone you know does get killed in those undies, next pair's free.
That's actually the part I don't know.
It's a good deal. It's a good deal.
I'm just spitballing over here.
Spencer, what are your thoughts about murder?
I'm for it most of the time.
During these 2 hours, certainly.
Yeah, during these 2 hours, certainly.
Remember Paul
it's
Schaefer?
bad.
Kind of Paul Schaefer.
Murder
I
is
get it.
bad, you guys. And I'm glad that you asked me that question so I could finally tell the audience that I feel that murder is bad. No, the only thing I could think of during this whole 2 hours is the fact that women feeling safe is bad for me. You know? Women not feeling safe.
Is that a Freudian slip? Is that
Whoops.
Go to meundies.com/Harmontown. Enter the code, oops.
I could see it either way, really.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if it was a Freudian slip or not, because I was like, I could make either argument.
Just something to think about, I thought.
I
figured I should have bring it up too early.
That's how we could help women. We could do some PSAs where we go, you know what I think is hot? A safe woman.
But then we say
she
we don't
emanates
care.
a certain je ne sais quoi that gets this fella ready to propose.
Pepper spray immediately.
You do the pepper spray ad. I'm doing the
Yeah.
Oh, man. You could do pepper spray ads.
Oh, my God.
It would be a great tie-in to your brand.
Are we okay?
That's sarcasm.
No.
In a general sense, we talked about. I mean, I think we created an uplifting like sunrise that we're looking forward to on the internet. In real life, like 8 billion people, now it's 9 billion. What is it? We're just choking the planet. We're like you guys are in this crevice where you're breathing oxygen into a pocket was carbon dioxide, and it's like you're in the darkness. But in general, should we just go to the moon and colonize with like a couple hundred people? That was the premise of this podcast.
I think it's so fun that we get to watch the downfall, and like it's so exciting. Like it makes me, who's like super fucking gets bummed, like this is so cool. We get to watch how like this whole thing fucking crumble to the ground and laugh at it like before it gets really awful in like 2040.
Yeah, I feel like I'm older than you are, but I feel like I timed this just right.
Totally.
I'm gonna watch the shit hit the fan, and I'll be like, I'm 70. Fuck it.
Who gives a shit?
Is it possible we're all paying the price for baby boomers feeling that way? That they're kind of like, oh man, we did the Beatles, we hit a golf ball in the moon, let's fuck up. and then we were like, but what about Cobain? And they're like, fuck you, fuck him. And we're like, fine, I'm gonna not wash my hair. And they're like, good, saves the planet.
I feel like the baby boomers never had the comfort of modal underwear.
Could make all the difference.
I mean, what do we foresee? You're intelligent people. Like you've studied murder in a consumer way. Like
off of Wikipedia.
But
Community college dropout.
Is our species? Is it? I think a lot of us, even the optimists among us, walk around with the optimistic idea that we're headed for a gigantic cataclysmic shift that is going to see a lot of...
I know, but you know what, Dan? I think people have always thought that. They always think that.
Great.
It happens all the time. I think if you're plugged into certain messaging, that's the message that you'll get. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Maybe it's because I have epilepsy. I don't have time for all that shit. You know what I mean? I really don't. I'm stoked. Not to get too dark or whatever, but like my mom had Alzheimer's for 12 years. She died in January. It fucking sucked for 12 years straight in my family. It blew. Don't worry about it. It blew unbelievably badly. It was terrible. And it's not terrible anymore. And so I don't give one single fuck if they every day report that there's an asteroid coming or this or that, because I'm like, oh my God, we're okay again, and things are only getting better. And that's maybe my ridiculous opinion, but I'm literally fighting every day to have that opinion, because it's one or you choose. It's one or the other.
Well, I'd rather die feeling that way with you. Let's do it.
Right?
Well, I'll take a special bulletproof bomb shelter where we can feel that way.
Because it's like if the asteroid, whatever the asteroid is, if the asteroid is Donald Trump, if the asteroid is fucking the Zika virus, whatever this thing is, they want to keep...
Super volcanoes, avian flu,
the caldera,
super predators, AIDS,
the chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
They don't talk about the chupacabra anymore. That's for a reason.
Pajama Man.
Andy Dick. He's going to be here.
Did you say Slender Man?
I said Pajama Man.
But I mean, it's always a thing that's just over the mountain that you should be locking down for and scared of.
Every time it gets tested, we passed. The power went out in New York, and like it was just the ice cream melted, and they ate the ice cream.
People are good.
If you look at the micro shit, and you're like, if I stop looking at the fucking internet, and I'm like, I live in this cute little apartment, I have this fucking nice dude that I met, I have these great cats. Like everything is actually fine. And then you look at like you take 2 steps out and look at like fucking Trump and shit, and life is like ruined.
It's like newsworthy. It's like, oh man, newlywed couple plays video game about raising a baby while their real baby rats in a crib eaten by a cat. There is no way to have a headline and no one would click on it. But from a general perspective, truly the objective, empirical, scientific headline should be every day: 8 billion people get through another day, having taken back the earth from a merciless god that has had them in the crosshairs since they learned to stop being monkeys.
Yeah, that's right. And when those 8 million people, when it comes down to it, yes, there's groupthink, and yes, there's like when people do weird shit en masse. But at the end of the day, when you're standing on the street and somebody gets hit by a car, everybody runs fucking toward the person that's down. It's just human. That's
out
human.
and ready to roll.
And they're taking it all down. But I mean,
it's called the Nightcrawler spirit.
We're all gonna make $500. But I truly believe that. I think that that's the true instinct of people. If you've gone, if you've gone to a certain direction to shut that down, that's your choice. But that is not common. That is not. I don't think that's the common
Platelets
human
rush
thing.
toward an open cut.
That's
like
what's
they
great
want to
about
clot
like,
it.
It's healing. We want to heal.
We're lucky to be like all of us here. Like we are doing a stupid podcast and do comedy with microphones up here, but the fact that a group of people all come here just to sit around in a group of strangers and laugh, that's really magnificent.
It's amazing.
Like, it really is crazy.
It says a lot about underwear and the state of it. Like these people had to hang out for 2 hours in whatever they left the house in. And some of them probably chose cotton from a Hanes.
But
or
they didn't know. They didn't
Playtex.
know. They couldn't know.
No, they couldn't have known until they came here tonight. There's a new thing. Cotton is dumb.
Cotton's dead. Cotton's dead.
Cotton is the murder victim of fabrics. You should dismiss it. What, did I not get
yeah.
Did I?
No.
Oh, did I?
No, cotton.
Did I?
No, I think you get it.
Cotton murders your comfort. Right? Cotton's the bad guy.
And
Right?
it deserves it, and it deserves it.
Yeah.
Do you guys we've talked? I think remember the Noid. Have you guys remember the Noid thing?
Oh yeah.
Domino's
from
Pizza?
Domino's Pizza had a Noid, and he was like, "Oh, careful! The Noid wants your pizza to be cold." There was a guy that worked for his name was Noid, and the reason they dropped that ad campaign is because the guy thought they were talking about him, and he went and killed people.
Oh,
at
he did?
I
I don't
think he
where he
killed
works.
anybody.
Ooh, I'm doing that one.
So look it up. And I
think he held
apologize
up
in advance if you Snopes
held
it.
up
It's
a
like not true.
Domino's and no one died, but
Wait, sorry. Okay,
he held up a Domino's. Was it Domino's, right?
Why are
he
you
held it
pouting?
up. What?
And was he a Domino's employee?
No.
There was a dude whose name was Noid, right?
Yeah,
And
he was like, you guys can't keep telling people to avoid me. This has gone far enough.
It's that thing of like.
I'm gonna send a message.
And
you
he
should
held up
come
the
toward
That
me.
thing of when you're like, the FBI are following me, and you're like, make sure the FBI aren't following that guy before you tell him that he's crazy. And then it's like, Noid was like, the fucking TV's talking to me. And it's like, no, they're actually talking. They're telling people to avoid you. Like, legit. And he went crazy. Yeah.
You have to avoid the Noid.
It's true.
He killed himself.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
It's not
what have we learned tonight? That we should face
We
that
should have
shit.
never gone over to that side of the room.
Well, I hope you guys come back and like just be friends with us because
I want to binge listen to every episode of your show because I'm hooked on this shit.
It's great. It's great
a
bedtime
lot of bullshit.
podcasting.
Thank you.
Is there any while we have you here? I mean, because you did us a favor by appearing. Do you have any other side things you want to pluggy wug? You're appearing at Mr. Chuckles.
Oh yes, my big gig.
Yeah.
We're going to be on the podcast festival.
Oh yeah. LA Podcast Fest at the end of September.
Nice.
I think that's our next big. This was actually our plug for a long
this was
time,
it.
so now we don't have
We're gonna
it.
Spencer,
be on
you got a
Harmontown.
plug, Spencer? Are you plugging anything?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be at LA Podcast Festival. Just in the audience.
No. You can see a live stream of his night vision photography.
Thank you so much, everybody. That's been Harmontown. Georgia Hardstark, Karen Kilgariff, Spencer Crittenden. I'm Jeff Davis. Your man this, Mr. Dan Harmon. Don't kill anybody. Please don't kill anybody.
Did you get any of that?
It's a good show.
Feral Audio.